Before we get to the video, if you would like to help me stop the madness, then please visit madnessnation.net to get all of your merchandise, or simply hit the link in the description below to donate. Remember, I cannot stop the madness without you. Madness. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the hottest crime show on the net. Stop the madness, crime news, madness. Please subscribe, hit that notification bell. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, then please hit the link in the description box. I have an amazing show for y'all tonight. First, I'm going to go ahead and read off these new charges that Darriynn Brown has picked up. If you have been following the Baby Cash case, rest in peace, justice for Baby Cash. And it also seems like he has done this before. And then I'm going to bring on a person from the neighborhood who reached out to me and who wanted to come on the show. And also, before I get started, I want to give a shout out to Stephanie Harlow. I hope I'm saying her name right. Apparently, she did a video and put my video in her video and brought some more people over here to help spread awareness about the madness. And I'm grateful and I'm thankful. So y'all go over there. Y'all tell her that Madness said thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. If y'all ain't following her already, make sure that you do. So we got some new developments. And we're going to go ahead and get through this before I bring on the caller from the neighborhood. It says, the 18-year-old accused of killing 4-year-old Cash, Darriynn Brown, now faces 2 more charges. One of the charges details another incident involving a 2-year-old girl in February of this year, according to an arrest affidavit. In addition to the kidnapping and theft, Brown is charged with injury to a child, elderly individual, or disabled individual. Additionally, he faces a second burglary charge. Madness. According to the affidavit, for the burglary charge, Brown entered a man's home and started going through all the rooms and the closets. Picking up a kitchen knife, the man demanded that he leave. The homeowner managed to get Brown out of his home, but he came back and started kicking and damaging the interior door between the garage and home. The homeowner opened the door and Brown re-entered, punching the man in the forehead, according to the affidavit. Madness. It just appears that Darriynn Brown been acting a fool. Everybody in the neighborhood. And if you just now getting here, hello everybody, welcome. We do have another guest that's going to come on the show from the neighborhood that wanted to speak. It was then that Brown allegedly walked into the living room where the man's 2-year-old granddaughter was sleeping. He grabbed her and started carrying her towards the laundry room at the back of the house near the garage door. Now let's stop it right there. If this was me, Darriynn Brown wouldn't have made it to Baby Cash. You come in my house and try to kidnap anybody, you're not going to make it months later to be the suspect of killing a baby. You wouldn't have made it out my house. You can't just be going up in people's houses trying to kidnap their kids. You know, when you're actually a good parent, your kids are the most precious thing to you. He wouldn't have made it out the house. I'm going to just be honest. You know, at that point, you're going to want the police to come because you're going to want them to come save you. You come up in my house trying to kidnap somebody. Madness. That's crazy. It says he grabbed her and started carrying her towards the laundry room at the back of the house near the garage door. Her grandfather demanded Brown let her go, but he continued with the child towards the door. Fearing Brown would take the child from his home, the man physically removed her from his grasp. And they saying this is a grandpa. Can we give this grandpa, because he's a grandpa, so he's older, but he physically got his granddaughter back. Give him a round of applause for saving his granddaughter. Madness. And that's what I'm saying. Even as a grandpa and even being older, he wasn't having it. That's crazy. The grandfather put the girl back on the couch, then confronted Brown in the kitchen. Brown allegedly punched the man in the face, then fled out the back door. The child's grandfather later told police that she was startled and began crying when she awoke to Brown holding her. That's scary. As a child, you waking up, somebody's holding you, and you don't know who this person is. Yeah, that's a little scary. Everybody, can you please welcome everybody? Can you please like the video? Can you please share the video so we can continue to get the message of this madness out there? It says at the time of the incident, the homeowner decided not to press charges. Okay, why did he not press charges? Maybe they're going to tell us, but that's a very interesting question. Somebody comes in your house, tries to kidnap your grandbaby. What you know, you pressing charges. Not only am I pressing charges, I want that man in jail. See, prevention is key, people. You don't want to get to the point that we at now with Baby Cash. He up here kidnapping children, madness. And he decided not to press charges. Nah. Because charges wouldn't have been the only thing pressed. I would have been pressing my foot all on his ass. Madness. 2 weeks after the incident, the man ran into Brown at Walmart. He told police that Brown approached him and apologized, saying he was sorry for breaking into his house and trying to take his grandchild. You know, it's going to be interesting to see if Brown stands trial. And I say that because he clearly just broke into somebody's house. And then he seen this person at Walmart. And when he see this person at Walmart, he said, "Hey man, I'm sorry that I tried to break in your house." As if it's just no big deal. Like, yeah, my bad, man. I broke in there and grabbed your grandbaby. You know, the more and more that stuff that's coming out, he's sounding more and more like a demon. Like, that's just crazy. Like, who does that? Like, you didn't bump into somebody. You didn't step on somebody's shoe. You didn't accidentally knock a drink out of somebody's hand. You literally went in their house and tried to take their grandbaby, and then you see him 2 weeks later and it's like, man, my bad. Child abuse detectives met with the man on May 18th to interview him about the incident on February 8th. He told them he now wanted to press charges against Brown. This was 3 days after Cash was found in the 7500 block of Saddler Ridge Drive, about a half mile from the home he was living there with his twin brother, or Florena. He was laying in a pool of blood, had multiple wounds from what the investigators say was an edged weapon, and did not have on shirt and shoes. It goes on to let you know about the jogger who discovered Cash's body. The woman told CBS that she was initially thought that she was seeing a dog, but quickly realized it wasn't. The closer I got to get to it, I can tell it's a human, because I see a hand and I see legs. Very traumatizing. I have 3 kids. To see a child covered in blood in the middle of the street, it's truly traumatizing. According to an arrest warrant affidavit, the home surveillance video shows a person who police said is Brown lifting Cash from his crib. I showed that video. If you have not seen that video, go ahead and watch some of my old videos. We got plenty of discussions on this. The woman who had the child in the care, Monica Sherrod, is the girlfriend of Cash's father. According to the court papers, Sherrod identified Brown as the person in the video and said that while she knew him, he did not have permission to be inside her home. And we all seen the second video where it say a second video allegedly shows Brown returning. It appears to take cash. Twin Carter, but leaves without taking the boy. If you haven't seen that neither, go ahead and check my other video. I'm about to bring on, let me make sure they ready. Because I'm about to bring on another person that's from the neighborhood who wanted to talk on this situation. And before I bring this person on, let me just say a few things. They charging Darriynn Brown with everything besides murder. But like they said, once forensics come out, I do believe that the murder charge will come. And some people had an issue with some of my previous callers. They had an issue because they felt like they was bashing the police. Well, I'm here to say that when I do a live call-in show, I want that person to be raw. I want that person to be uncut. If they feel like the police dropped the ball, then they feel like the police dropped the ball. I can't tell them that you shouldn't feel like the police dropped the ball. But I am also an equal opportunity platform. So if you felt like a guest came on the show and said something that you don't agree with, you are welcome to come on the show and defend the police if you would like. I wouldn't let one person come on the show who have this point of view, but then wouldn't let another person who has another point of view come on the show. Things need to be discussed. And if one side can't talk to the other side, then we'll never have the dialogue that needs to be had. We'll never have any solutions because we don't want to talk to each other. So like I said, if somebody come on and they have a certain viewpoint and they want to express themselves, I'm going to let them express themselves. And if you don't agree, and in this particular situation, we're talking about the police, if you don't agree, come on the show and defend the police and tell all the viewers why you feel like they did a good job if that's what you feel. Madness. You give me 1 second. Let me see if they ready. Give me a second. I'm trying to bring them on now. Hello, everybody. Everybody that's in the chat, how y'all doing today? I'm trying to see if this person is ready. I sent them the link, but until they click it, people have different opinions. People have different views. This is a hard case. You know, it is traumatizing. It is depressing. But people's going to feel the way they want to feel. So if a person feel like this particular person has something to do with this, they are allowed to express that. They are allowed to express that. Okay, let's see. Okay, I may have to have somebody else come on the show until the guests, because the guests ain't hitting the link. Heather Solomon said, I'm a new sub. Thanks to Stephanie. Yes, I gave Stephanie a thanks at the beginning of the show. The living conditions left these boys extremely vulnerable. And this is the thing. I know a lot of people are saying that, people shouldn't say anything about Monica. The police at this point says that Darriynn Brown was the only one involved. Unfortunately, Regardless of what happens, people are going to have something to say about Monica regardless, just for the simple fact that the boys was there. The moment those kids was left with Monica, those are not her kids. She should have called the proper authorities. Marina Martin, you are absolutely correct. When he tried to kidnap that other that 2-year-old little girl, they definitely should have pressed charges, and baby Cash will probably still be alive. See, that's confusing to me, because I don't know how somebody attempts to kidnap your grandbaby. And if there's any grandbabies out there, any kids, tell the truth. Don't your parents treat your kids better than they treated you when you was growing up? Tell the truth. My parents treat my babies way better than they treated me. Okay, the guest said that they're ready. So they should be coming on here now. Yep, Megan in. He tried to kidnap somebody else a few months ago. And they didn't press charges. Like I said, he wouldn't have made it to baby Cash. You can't. He went in the right house. But I do commend that grandpa, because like I said, he's a grandpa. He's older. I do commend that grandpa. All right. We should have the guest on. Let me see if I can hear him. Can you hear me? Make sure you connect your audio.
Yeah, thank you. I was muted. I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. All right. If you can go ahead, if you would like to introduce yourself, you can. If you don't want to use your name, you don't have to. If you want to just go in and start talking about what you want to talk about, I'm glad that you joined the show today. And like I said, I want you to be real. I want you to be authentic. I'm not going to censor you. Okay?
All right. Sounds good. I'd rather not say my name for those in my neighborhood. They've, the events have already unfolded with my family on the neighborhood app.
Okay.
So they'll know who I am, but I would ask everybody to try to keep my personal name out of it. The reason for that is because I'm working towards other things. Okay. There's a plan that I have that I'm trying to put into action to get our neighborhood in a better situation.
Okay.
So when I was watching your show the other night, one of my neighbors had appeared on there, and they said, "Hey, take a look." And they were talking on behalf of me a little bit, because they know the struggle. They've seen the struggle that I've gone through with this individual, Mr. Brown, and kind of wanted to put a voice to it for me. Okay. And I do appreciate that. So I first off wanted to say thank you very much to Alejandra. So there's that out there. But then I continued to hear people, and I continue to see people. And I know it's all speculation, and it's because not a lot's in the news. But it was kind of frustrating, because people were making suppositions and trying to rationalize an irrational man, an irrational mind, and you cannot do that. You can't say it's anything to do with the people in that house with Cash. You don't know them. You don't know the family. You can make assumptions, but you can't assume how everybody grieves. You can't assume what they were doing in their life from their past. You can't assume any of that. All I know is what I saw of Darriynn Brown, and that's what I'm going to speak to. Okay. I was watching your intro to this, and the early February incident that occurred. I don't know much about specifics other than the fact that I saw them on our neighborhood app come out and say that this occurred early February.
Okay.
And a police officer reached out to them on the neighborhood app and said, "Contact me." So I don't want to come out here and act like I'm anti-police and trying to bash the police, because those that I've dealt with in the majority really tried to do their best to help, but they can only do so much. In our neighborhood, Darriynn Brown was running around, not just walking into people's houses. He was causing destruction. He was trying to get a confrontation. He was trying to get someone to push him to a level that he could either have violence acted upon him or he could act out violence.
Okay.
And you don't, I dealt with him on several occasions personally within 10 foot because he was in my neighborhood, because he was at my house, because he was doing something. Every time I saw him hurting some of my neighbor's property, I would call the police. So for a month, I called the police on many occasions. What did they do? They responded the best they could. They had patrol come out, but again, patrol, because we don't have a substation in our area. We do have 2 dedicated cops, but they can't just sit in our neighborhood because the Dallas City Council decided to defund the police in the amount of $7 million. They are short over 500 bodies. So you have 2 dedicated cops to our neighborhood. If there's something else going on further into South Dallas, who are they going to call to come over there and respond? Our officers. Right. So I put in a 911 call, guys out running amok in the neighborhood. Patrol comes, they get here as fast as they can, 15, 20, 30 minutes, whatever the case may be. That doesn't matter. Kid's gone, right?
Right.
They can't do anything unless they catch him in the act, because I don't know the guy. I'd seen him in the neighborhood, but I don't know his name. I don't know where he lives. I know he lives in the neighborhood. So what do I do as a concerned citizen and out of care for my neighbors? I posted all over the Nextdoor app. I go door to door to my immediate neighbors. I said, be careful, keep an eye out. If you see the dude, call the police. Let's get this taken care of, because I knew from speaking to him that he was dangerous. Growing up in this neighborhood, I have children that have grown up in this neighborhood. So a lot of times when it's a young man, I probably knew them when they were a kid. So
Right.
A lot of the people in this neighborhood want to stay out of it. They don't want to get the kid in trouble. I do the same thing. I want to help the kid if I can. So I'm looking at mannerisms. I'm looking at the way the kid acts. I'm looking at the way the kid talks to see if it jogs anything in my memory from a kid that I either worked with growing up or knew from my kids. This one, no. I had no dealings with him prior. So it wasn't anything personal against me that he kept coming back to my house. It was just the fact that the kid roamed the neighborhood at all hours of the night. Always. He was always out walking, doing something, carrying a hammer and a backpack every time I saw him, except for once. So the first time I saw him was on my camera at about 1:30 in the morning, messing with my cars. And everybody's probably seen that footage on the news.
Right.
I went outside immediately and confronted him, because that's what you do. Kid in the neighborhood, you come out, I could tell he was a teen, young 20 something. Let him know, hey man, we're watching you. People are here. We're not just going to let you do something. Go home, go to bed, hoping maybe it'll scare him. Oh man, I almost got caught, and stop doing what he's doing. But
Right.
this kid, he kept mumbling, and I'm not saying this to bring race into it. I'm saying it to say the words that he said.
Remember, I said, don't censor. Listen, this is Stop the Madness Crime News. Don't censor yourself. Whatever you got to say it. If that's how you feeling, say it.
Well, he said that I better get my white ass back in the house.
Okay.
And a few other words, basically just saying he was going to come back and continue to do harm if I didn't leave him alone. So I wasn't worried, at that point, my plan was to follow him so I could see where he went home, go back, talk to his parents in the morning, try to see what I could do to help. But he was going into the shadows, and he had on a hoodie, and my camera is night vision camera. So when you look at that video, you'll see him. It looks like he has a white top on. It's not, it was black, but it was made out of a reflective material, so the night camera would shine on it. And he had a hammer in his hand, and he put his hands inside his hoodie. And at that point I was like, hey, let's just stand right here and back up a little bit, because this dude is giving a bad vibe. Something's going to happen. So then I called the police. I told him, I said, man, I'm calling the police right now. Called the police. They came out here. It took them about 25 minutes, I think. And meanwhile, I'm hearing him outside breaking stuff at my other neighbor's house. Wow. So I go out in the backyard and I holler at him, dude, go home. And I watch him continue while I'm talking to him, kicking in a fence on my neighbor's fence and then jumping over the fence, trying to go try the back door. This was on April 19th. I reported it. I reported it to the cops. Cops went over there when they got here. They couldn't find him. because he knows the neighborhood. He'd slip in between houses. As soon as the cop lights, you can see him. He's off. The cops looked for a few minutes, looked around, said they can't really do anything. They don't know who he is. I showed them the video. They didn't worry about it because there's nothing they can do. They can't take that kind of stuff on the scene. Detective would be in touch with me later. 2 days later, me and my wife were out on the front porch, and this time it wasn't. Oh, he came back. I'm sorry. Let me back up. He came back at 4:30 in the morning after the cops came, continuing to mess with people's fences and setting fires. I saw him set a fire on a trash can, went and put it out, busting Ring cameras with his hammer. And all those were in my immediate area. There were 4 or 5 houses in this immediate area where I live that he did that too. So I called the police back again, let them know what happened. Come back out, can't find him, nothing. 2 days later, me and my wife were outside, and he's walking down the middle of the street like he owns the place. Same hoodie, the bluish Dickie pants that he had on. And if you look at my video, you'll see the shoes that he has on are the same shoes he was wearing when he took baby cash.
Right.
All right. So pause it if y'all want to when you watch the video on Channel 8, whatever. But pause it and look, and you'll see it's the same dude. And when I saw him here, he didn't have a mask on out front in my house. Saw him clear as day. He had his hoodie halfway back on his head, and he walked up onto my sidewalk, and me and my wife were talking to him, and I was saying, hey, man, just go home. Because he had the hammer again. Had the hammer, backpack. I could tell he was ready to start doing damage. It was about 8:15 at night, so it was daylight. And he mumbling. I mean, he talked crazy stuff, okay? He was talking about how he was on a bloodlet and how he was going to come back and kill my white family when we slept.
He said this to you. I'm going to come back and kill your white family.
He said this to me. He said he was going to come through our bedroom window while we slept and kill my whole white family.
Oh, my goodness.
So, again, I don't want to put it as a racial problem because I don't think it was that. I think it was opportunity, okay? I think he was just talking. I don't want people to think or mishear what I'm saying, because the point of it was that I could tell this guy was looking to hurt someone. All right. And in the event that he was doing that, someone was probably going to end up hurting him as well. So I was concerned for both parties, whoever might be drawn to lose their temper. Because, man, if it would have happened 20 years ago,
yeah,
I'd have kneecapped him in my driveway and nothing that would have happened. But I'm older. I've got kids. I've got grandkids. I'm trying to do the right thing. So you let the police get involved. You let the police handle it. So, because I don't want to go to jail over some kid, So I called the police immediately. My wife called the police on my phone while I'm still talking with them in my front yard, letting them know, hey, man, seriously, don't bring it to this point. Don't let it get to where somebody hurts you or you have to hurt somebody else. Get this taken care of. My wife calls the police. The police come out. It's a big deal. There's helicopters out and everything. That's April 21st. Okay. There's a case on file for a terroristic threat against my family on that date and time. Again, put it on the Facebook Messenger app, the Next Door Neighborhood app. Told everybody, be careful, be alert, be aware. Call the police as soon as you see this dude. Does anybody know him? Somebody in this neighborhood has to know who this guy is. Nobody. Silence. So when I hear the interviews with his mama saying he wouldn't hurt a fly and that he's a good dude and he was home all weekend, I'm sorry, but that's not the same kid I know.
Right.
Not the same kid I know at all. And then I think back to the other times I had confrontations with him, even on the Friday before Baby Cat, this happened to Baby Cash. We were going in my truck going down the front road. I'm trying to make sure I don't say the name of the road or anything and give it away. But
okay.
He was walking with no shirt, with his pants on, down to his knees, exposing himself to the whole neighborhood. Again, walking down the middle of the street. The cops had told me after the other confrontations that I had with him not to speak to him, to just call, let it be, and that way he won't have any reason to flee. Well, I got a video of him running through my driveway, getting away. So he left. That was Friday evening at 6:46 p.m. Cash was taken at 5 a.m. the next morning. Right?
Oh my God.
So at any point in time, let's take out the kidnapping out of it, because I don't know that gentleman's mindset. I don't know where he was at, why he didn't file charges. That's not for me to extrapolate on or try to guess as to his mindset.
Okay.
But I would imagine it's because he talked with the mama, he talked with the kid, and they were like, "I'm sorry, let's work it out." I would imagine it was something like that, but I don't know. All I know is from my first dealing with him until the actual murder occurred was a month. Pretty close to right at a month. So what brings the question is, if he was caught, which he was, if he was caught on the 26th or 27th, I don't know the exact date when he was caught. I know that charges were on the 27th for evading police, and they released him back into the custody of someone, and they saw the address of that individual, and they had all of my reports in that same neighborhood within blocks. And I was not the only one that was reporting, according to the Nextdoor app. I don't know, because I didn't see the 911 calls or see the cases. So all I can go off is what they said on Nextdoor. There were a whole bunch of calls to 911 apparently regarding him. So the police have him in custody. And this is where the dealings where I had with the police, where it was like, why did somebody not say, hey, we have all of these issues going on in this neighborhood. We got this dude who was doing bad stuff, caught in a stolen car, running from us. Lives in that neighborhood. Let's ask some of these people if it's this dude. Nope. Nothing. Saturday, I was torn apart because I was like, please don't let it be this guy that I've been messing with. Please don't let it be this guy. Because in our neighborhood, I felt like we failed this kid. Not just our neighborhood. I feel like everybody all the way around, that as neighbors, we failed them because we didn't take care of this kid ahead of time. We didn't do our due diligence. The police didn't do their due diligence and tracking him down because they're busy. Like I said, if they're short 500 folks, you can't expect them to be on top of every case immediately.
Right.
So if more than a month would have gone by, maybe they would have caught him. But again, you got, baby, I'm on a YouTube thing that's going out while you're, yeah, thank you. So the police are trying their best, but again, in my opinion, they were trying. I don't know for sure. Okay. All I know is what I see, that nothing happened. So it's very frustrating. I feel responsible because if I would have done something to the guy when he was here, this wouldn't have happened. I'm sure the granddad feels the same way. If I would have just done something then, none of this would have happened. But when I hear people saying, they had 4 pit bulls in the house. I don't know how many dogs they had in the house. I don't know if they had any dogs in the house. I don't know those folks. All I know is that the kids were on one side of the room and they're on the other side of the house. And this guy, I watched go through an entire neighborhood without waking anybody up, destroying stuff. So if he can break somebody's Ring camera, if he can jump in their backyard and try their door and kick their fence in and nobody wakes up, what makes you think he couldn't go into a garage door that wasn't locked and then pry open a door?
And I'm glad that you brought that up, because that is a big speculation point of how was he able to get in this house and nobody wakes up? But you're letting us know, like, he's pretty much a professional at doing this, like a stealth criminal. Like, he's a professional.
You see in my video, he walks up nonchalant to the cars, tries the handles, didn't even make the alarms go off. He knew not to pull the handle all the way, just enough to see if it was unlocked. He had the hammer. He was looking in the truck to see if there was anything in there of value. And then I guarantee if there would have been, he probably would have broke the window. But, it's just, he didn't go break a Ring camera with the hammer and then stand there. He knew, break, run, go. He had forethought. Was he breaking? And that's something we thought about as a family. Is he doing this so that somebody can come again later? Is he part of a group? Because he's breaking the cameras first and then they're going to come back behind him and do something. We didn't know, because hindsight's 20/20, right?
Right.
But we were afraid. I spent a month on edge staying up all hours of the night, but still going to work the next day and taking care of business because I had to protect my family. I had come to the terms that I might have to kill a gentleman to protect my family. And that's not an easy thing to come to terms with. And to find out that all this went on and how many other people had interactions with them and how many times the police were known that there was a problem in this area is frustrating. It's frustrating. At the community meeting the other night, we had the city manager who came and talked to us about how he hurts with us and all this, but then left immediately after and didn't hear any of our concerns.
Right.
It was kind of like a photo op saying, hey, yeah, I'm here for you and I feel your pain. Bye. See you later.
So they didn't like take it seriously with y'all. Like this is a serious situation.
That's a question. That's a good question. To me, it was more of an optics thing than actual concern for the community.
Okay.
The councilman took it seriously. Our district councilman, Casey Thomas, he took it seriously. The officer that found baby Cash was there and she took it seriously. Police chief, did he take it seriously? I'm sure he did because it's in his district. They don't serve for any reason, but again, it was just lip service from him. There were officers there that probably numbered, what would you say, between 20 and 30. I didn't actually count them. Where'd those officers come from? We don't have a police presence like that ever. But it was for a photo op, for a show of force, like police are present in your neighborhood. And I was happy for most of the news stations that they didn't show that. Again, like I said, I'm not anti-police. What I'm saying is, okay, the lip service is too little too late. We stood up and we said, what more as a neighborhood do we need to do to help you as police? And the blame was shifted by the chief of police back to us saying, well, you don't have a neighborhood crime watch. You don't have a citizens on patrol. Instead of saying what would have helped everybody in the community at that time, because everybody feels the same way I do. We could have done more. We could have prevented this. But instead of at this meeting, them saying, I'm sorry we failed you, which I know they won't because they can't legally do that and they'll be held responsible. Right. But at least the police chief saying, hey, we've identified some areas that we need to work on. And here's a plan for us to improve on it, because they had time to do that. We didn't get that. We got y'all need to do this. Y'all need to call. You need to get a crime watch. We had a gentleman that stood up and asked at the meeting after everybody had said their piece. I'm sure the sentiments were heartfelt from the individuals there. I'm sure they were. But again, it was no action. It was, to me, I felt very patronized. So the one gentleman from the neighborhood stood up and he said, Memorial Weekend's coming up. We have these street racers that block off our streets. And a lady was killed while they were doing that because she went to confront them and say, hey, y'all need to clear out. And they shot her and took off. Casey Thomas jumped on it and was able to get a lot of that taken care of. But there's still those out there racing the streets at night. We hear them. We call the police. They can't do anything because by the time the police get here, they're gone.
They're gone, yeah.
Well, so this gentleman was asking during this weekend, this holiday weekend, can we have at least just 2 patrolmen dedicated to our neighborhood? That it was a simple ask. And there was really, the response from the chief was, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that we can do that. And then there were some more fluff words after that, but not even related to the question. And that's what we got. A lot of our questions were no direct answer at all. So
still no solutions,
none,
even after the baby Cash situation?
None whatsoever. It's like, and I think heard somebody say it's too little too late. The presence that was here and the cops that were here in our neighborhood, I stopped and talked to them to find out, because I wanted to gauge the response. Are you really there looking for crime or what? And the several police officers I spoke to said, no, we're sitting out here in case somebody saw something or knew something and wants to come and talk to us. And I'm like, do you know what neighborhood you're in? People aren't going to come talk to you when you're sitting there. That's not how you get people to talk to you.
Right.
So it's a disconnect, it's like, you can't just park your car in the middle of, at the end of a dead end street and expect people to walk up to you and say, "Hey, I know something about this." No, they're going to avoid you because they think you're there watching out for stuff. It's it just boggles my mind that people sit back and think that I would not want to imagine this poor woman. And you hear stuff all over the place and in the newspaper. She, from what I'm read and from what I understand in all the papers and everything, is that she knew the dad from Houston.
Okay.
And moved up here together in the house. So if that's the case, and if that's the truth, she's been with those twins for 2 years.
And you're speaking on Monica right now, correct?
Yes, that's
okay.
Correct.
Monica, okay.
So I couldn't imagine losing a child that was in my care for whatever reason. Take out the picture, any extracurriculars activities that any of them did, any of that. If you have children in your care and something happens to them under your care, it's going to throw you for a loop. I know the interviews look bad. I know they did. But again, I'm not going to sit and try to reason behind what they're thinking or feeling. I just know that it's a horrible situation. And the question's been asked over and over, do you think he acted alone? Well, every time I saw him doing something, he was never with anybody else.
Okay, because I was about to ask you that question. I was about to ask, because you said you didn't know if he was knocking the cameras off and somebody else would come. I was about to ask you, like, did you ever see him with anybody else, or was he just always by himself?
He was always by himself. And the reason I want to remain anonymous is, like I said, I'm trying to get action to help the police get back in our area. And I don't want anything I say to taint that for my neighborhood. I also don't want any kind of retribution or retaliation for anything I might say about, I live right in the same neighborhood as his family. Does he have brothers? Does he have cousins that live in that house? People say yes. I don't know. I don't know the family. But heaven forbid I come out here and say what I saw of the child, what I saw of Darriynn Brown, and then them get upset after the dealings I had with him. I don't want to deal with them. Any of them. And yes, I did pursue it with the police. And yes, I did talk to the police as soon as his mugshot came out. And I told my wife, like I said, on that Saturday, when we found out Cash was murdered, we said, I hope it's not the same guy we were messing with. And when the mugshot came out, that was him. That's the dude. And it just, I can't explain to you, after having been at high alert for a month, and then to realize this happened. It just, the amount of emotion and anger and guilt and all of it that just come forward. And I couldn't imagine the family. I can't imagine the dad. I mean, who cares if he's out of state for whatever reason? Who cares if he's in state? Who cares where he's at right now? He lost a son. Whether or not he was able to mentally take care of him, he still lost his son. And here we are, these poor people that lost a kid, we're bagging on them. And nobody is talking about how ugly Darriynn Brown was in this community. Nobody. And that kind of bothers me. We're really quick to judge this family and to say, oh, they had to have something to do with it. Or why are we not talking about Darriynn? He's the one that's accused of the crime. He's the one that's been committing all these atrocities in the neighborhood. But man, we want to condemn those that had the kid first. This dude was not, if he was mentally ill, when people say mentally ill or mentally unstable, they're not talking about him being, incompetent or operating at a younger level. They're talking about mentally ill, like talking to himself, wanting to bloodlet, that kind of mental illness, not to where he can't function. This is a guy that functioned. This guy would play basketball and be in the neighborhood during the day, but then at night he'd start causing problems towards the evening. So you see a behavior, you see a progression that rapidly occurred throughout the last month that we didn't stop. And when I say we, I'm talking about the global we, as in my neighborhood, as in the police, as in everybody. And I think more attention needs to be thought and looked at on Darriynn Brown than that family. I understand there's a lot of questions, but again, you're trying to put rational thought into this irrational mind that was looking to hurt someone. So, I mean, I've gone to the police. I've done my part. As soon as I saw the mugshot, I got in touch with them and said, "This is the guy that killed this child. Are you sure?" "Yes, I'm sure." "How do you know?" People on the neighborhood app were even, "How do you know it's the same guy?" I saw him. I talked to him. I don't just look at people. I look at the way they walk, the way they talk, the way they move. I look at their facial features. He's a very distinctive looking young man, and the way he walks with his shoulders down and duck footed, very distinct. He has a wicked, crazy laugh that he would do all the time. It's the same dude. And I let the police know that, and hopefully that will help them build that case. And that was done that Monday after Cash was taken. So the police know, and just because they're not releasing a lot of information out to the public, I think, in my opinion, it's not because other people are involved. It's because how are we going to put capital murder on a guy when we can't prove motive?
So you think they're just pretty much just building a case to make it airtight, pretty much?
Exactly, because with a capital murder trial, you have to have everything exact, and you can't let anything fall through the cracks. So they're being very careful, and that's why the police were monitoring our next door neighborhood app. That's why when this gentleman said, "Hey, this is the guy that tried to kidnap my granddaughter," a police officer reached out immediately. "Hey, contact me. Here's my phone number." Put his number out there for the whole neighborhood so that can be brought into evidence. Now, a new case has been filed against him that was prior. So we have prior acts. They told the police that when I was talking to them about mine and doing all the stuff with that one, they said, "Yeah, we've got a lot of things on file with him with vandalism and stuff in the neighborhood, just becoming more violent."
Let me ask you a question real quick.
Absolutely.
Do you by any chance have caught any footage on your camera of you and Darriynn having like the exchanges that y'all didn't have? You by any chance got any of that caught on camera, like the exchange between you two?
I have one in the alley, but I've turned that to the police, and I don't want to release that out to the public.
Okay, understandable.
Yeah, I don't want to until after, maybe after the trial's over or whatever. If somebody still wants it, then I am. But I don't want to hurt. I don't want to hurt any case against this guy because I feel responsible not doing something beforehand. So all I can do is worry about what I can do at this point in time. And I want to make sure this guy gets what's coming to him.
And for what it's worth, I would say try not to beat yourself up over. I know it's a tough situation, but try your best not to beat yourself up over this or feel responsible for it. You didn't do these horrible things. And it seems from what I'm hearing from, the people in the neighborhood, it seems like y'all did what y'all was supposed to do as a neighborhood and as a community to try to even keep it from getting to this point. So I really got to commend y'all neighborhood because it seems like y'all was being proactive in this situation. It just didn't go the way that we would wish that it would have gone. And that was, baby Cash still being here with us. But y'all didn't just sit around and do nothing. Like y'all actually did some things.
And I want, if anybody in my neighborhood is on this right now watching, I want to encourage them to walk with me on this journey to fight to get a police substation at the most. That would be ideal. That would be the perfect world. But more than likely, that's not going to happen until we can get the city council to put $7 million back into the police budget. So don't expect that, but that's what we're going to fight for. So fight with me. Let's get signed up for that neighborhood watch. Let's get that the Citizens on Patrol back up and running. But it's going to take us volunteering our time. And I know that sucks because everybody's time is valuable. But I don't know that anything is more valuable than stopping what happened in our neighborhood.
Yeah, because we definitely don't need a situation like this to ever happen again. We definitely just don't want it to happen, period. And it is going to take, where they say it takes a village. Like it's going to take everybody coming together to try to make change, because that's what's going to need. We're going to need change.
That's right.
The communities need help.
Yep.
And regardless, people have to, and this is the thing about the cops. You got people who feel a certain way about the cops, and then you got another side that feel a certain way about the cops. But in order for everything to work, everybody has to work together. And that's,
You said it.
that's,
Say that again.
that's
Say it
including
again.
the community, and that's including the cops. Like, we all have to come to an understanding. Everybody wants the same goal, and that's the protection of people from people who's out here acting a damn fool.
Exactly. Because you don't take a job like that. And that's the problem, is new policemen aren't coming into the force because of the optics of what the world is today. These kids aren't growing up wanting to be, I want to be a policeman. I want to help make my place better, because it takes a true servant heart to have that kind of role. And I truly believe that the people that I've dealt with in this situation had a servant heart and were wanting the best. The people that I've dealt with. Now, are there those outliers? Sure, I'm sure. But the people I dealt with, even the police chief that night, in their heart, they want to do what's right. But they're also have to fit in some constrictions that are set aside by our city government. And for us to get action, we have to get our city government to help us, because our neighborhood has grown from, let's see, I don't quote me on numbers here, but I'm going to tell you that multiple new neighborhoods have been built. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say that we have over 20,000 residents in this district. I will have to look at the numbers again, but it's only increasing because they have projects for new apartments coming in. And a lot of these older homes that aren't in the newer subdivisions are being turned into rental homes. We also have the Dart line that goes right through the middle of our neighborhood. So there's all kinds of people with easy access that don't care. And it's only going to get worse. So I don't understand how we could still have only 2 cops, which is the same as what we've had for almost 30 years in this area, when it's grown as much as it has. So I want everybody to band together with me, sign up for the neighborhood watch. You've seen it on Nextdoor. They put the link out there, sign up. If we all do it, if we all volunteer an hour, 2 hours, we can divide that up easy. But if it's only 4 or 5 people, that's going to be hard. But let's get something going. Let's work. And it's not to catch, like my wife is telling me, it's not to catch people. I'm sorry, I get a little passionate sometimes. And
that's okay. Be passionate. Like I said, be yourself. All authentic and real. Like, this Stop the Madness. Don't censor yourself. Don't feel like you got to hold back. When I have a guest on the show, I want you to be real. I don't want you to be some fake version that you're trying to put on just because you're on the show. Nah, be yourself, be authentic.
Yeah, and you'll know a lot of the people that were at the meeting that night heard the same things from me that I'm saying here. And I gave it to the chief of police the same as I said it here. It's not something I'm saying now that I haven't said to our district councilman in face-to-face. It's not something I didn't say to the police chief. I mean, that's the chief of police. It's not something that I didn't ask the detective that was working my case. You know, I was like, I let them know. And I said, tell me, please, how did this happen? I want to know. And how do we keep this from happening in the future? Let me know. How can I help? And I just, and there was something else I wanted to address. You know, I've heard people saying, how did they not wake up? How did that household where Cash was at not hear anything after he was already missing? Mm-hmm. Well, from the interview, they even said that the other brother, was it Carter? Is that right?
Yeah, Carter's the other twin brother. You know, our prayers go out to Carter.
Oh yeah, all the way. That whole group of people, because it's a loss. Now, like I said, I don't care about their life, but they lost something huge. And he said that he went outside. His brother went outside. So what did they do? They went outside looking for him, because that little brother said he went outside.
All right. And
in that neighborhood where Cash's body was, you got to remember, it was a body that was found. It wasn't an active, bring the ambulance in, hurry, save this person's life. There weren't police lights. There weren't sirens. There was a lot of presence, but it wasn't a big show.
Okay.
And if you're looking out the front door, and I know everybody's seen the picture of their house, if you're looking out their front door, your back is to where the baby was found. And you're talking about 8 blocks of neighborhood between you and there. So you're telling me if you were walking out your house and looking around your one street right there, that you're going to see something that far away from you, you're not going to know. So I just would like people to realize that Darriynn Brown may have been a good person at one point in time, but somewhere along the way, he lost his way. Okay. And there's a lot to him that nobody will ever know about. And did he act alone? I wholeheartedly believe he did. Because that boy was looking to do harm. And if it would have been an adult that would have confronted him and pushed him to it, he would have used that hammer on them. But it was opportunity. And if you watch the video, he's sitting there trying to talk himself into it.
And like you said, you actually seen him talking to himself, correct? I'm just
yeah.
Okay.
A lot of that was the other thing I was going to say is people have seen that video and say there's another man in the room with him. No, that's him talking to himself. Because I've talked to him and I can hear some of the words that he says because of my conversations with him. He says, "Good morning, little dude. Go back to sleep." When he came back for the other brother, Carter. And as far as the person in the window, that was a light behind the house. That wasn't a person coming through the window.
Yeah, because there's a lot of speculation that, there's a person outside with a light or a camera or a cigarette.
No, it's there the whole time. Even after it's what all that speculation. This guy went into that house. You saw him make up his mind, and when he made up his mind to grab that child, he did it. Snap, just like that, gone. I mean, you see him bend down, put his hands over to grab the baby, and then stop. He even comes back up and sits back up and touches his head like, what am I about to do? And then he goes back down and grabs the baby and gone. And for those that want to say the baby was harmed before he picked him up, I don't know if they've never had kids or what, but when you have a kid that falls asleep in a car ride, and you pick them up out of that car seat in the back, they do the same thing that Cash did. Straighten out and they're startled. And they're not going to say anything almost till you get back in the house. And if you cradle them up, they'll fall right back asleep. So I think we need to kind of, if y'all want to investigate that family further and do that, that's fine. But you know what? Let's have a little bit of respect for the dead and those that are mourning that death. And let's look at the guy that we know did it. Let's talk about him more. Let's let that family be. Somebody had said the other night, she needs to step back. Yeah, Monica needs to step back, but so do we. Instead of attacking them, it's to make her and her family feel like they don't have to come out because they live in this community, and all these things that people are saying about them, they're going to want to go to the Daily News or TMZ, whoever, to try to clear their name in the neighborhood because they have to live here. So let's chill out on them a little bit. And let's talk more about Darriynn and what he did and what his past looked like. Let's do that. Let's find out let's see if we can talk together and find a motive as to why he was looking to hurt somebody. What went wrong? Who hurt him bad enough that made him want to go hurt somebody? Because there's somebody that knows. There's somebody that knew Darriynn Brown. There's somebody that was buddies with him. There's somebody that hung out with him. And when Cameron said he knew him, it's because he went to middle school and high school with him. He didn't say, when you're in the neighborhood, yeah, I know him. You don't know him like he's over at your house all the time. You know him like, yeah, he grew up in a neighborhood. But, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you for listening to me, and I'll stop and let you get on with your show. Thanks for having me on. I do appreciate it. Did you have any questions?
I would like to thank you for coming on. I'd like to thank you for taking your time to come on the show and giving us that point of view. Like I said, I'm an open platform. If people want to come on here, I'm glad that you was able to give us your point of view with, the facts of you actually dealing with Darriynn personally, which helps give us some more insight on exactly what type of person he was.
Right.
I appreciate that. I really do. And like he said, if anybody is in the neighborhood, which I do know for a fact there is some people from your neighborhood in this chat, yeah, like he said, come together. Let's get some work done. Let's try to keep this from happening again.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
yep.
do you mind answering any questions that somebody from the chat may have?
Oh no, yeah, absolutely. Whatever. I'll stay on as long as you need me to. I'll just shut up so you can talk.
Okay, hold on. So, do anybody in the chat have any questions for our caller at all? Let me see if anybody. Somebody said prayers for the community, prayers for your community. Somebody said, how are you so adamant that it's Darriynn Brown?
Because I saw him. I spoke. Okay, if you spoke to somebody on a handful of occasions, if not more, and you saw their face and they threatened the life of your family, are you going to forget their face? I would like to ask you that question. If you want to answer it in the chat, go right on ahead. But are you going to forget that individual's face?
Absolutely not.
Nah, down to the hair. And when they put the lineup in front of me for me to pick him out, they had dudes that were very much similar to him. But I picked the same one because he's in my head. He's been in my head for a month every night. So yes, I am sure it was him.
Somebody else asked, do you by any chance know if Cameron, which is the brother, Monica's son, do he have a baby? Are you know anything about that?
I do not. I don't know anything about that.
Okay. It says, does the caller know of Darriynn Brown was friends with Monica and company? So was they, because some people saying that they actually was friends and he was actually over there all the time. They did you know anything about that?
I've heard a bunch of people say that too. And from my understanding, they didn't have any dealings with him other than Cameron playing at the basketball courts and Darriynn being at the basketball court too. As I asked my son, have you ever seen this guy before playing up at the courts? The same kind of deal. I don't know of any other relationship other than that. Okay. And again, you're trying to speculate as to whether or not he had dealings with them to help commit this murder, right? I mean, that's what you're talking about, mindset. So let's answer that question, mindset. You got a guy with a history for a month that I know of for sure, for a fact, trying to cause violence on someone else. And I'm going to call the horse, sorry, my wife is telling me to calm down. I'm going to call a horse and not look for a zebra. When that dude is outside my house looking to hurt somebody and threatening to hurt my family, and then he does end up killing somebody that's, a football's throw away, I'm not going to go, oh, well, that family was in on it. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Because that doesn't make sense. Just as much as it doesn't make sense to other people, oh, somebody else had to be in on it. It doesn't make sense. Well, it makes sense to me.
Okay, somebody else said, do you think Darriynn could have been under the influence?
If he wasn't under the influence, he had a whole nother world in his head. That's for sure.
Okay. It says, hold on one second.
To give you a mindset, kind of on his mindset, he would talk gibberish. Okay. So somebody who's not on, you could have a mental condition, yes, but he was walking around in the area. So it wasn't a drug that would have mentally impaired him and made him stumble. Okay. So could it have been, something that kind of speeds you up and maybe he'd been up for a couple of days? Maybe, could be. But I don't think it was anything because he was walking around and had full functionality. It's just his words and the actions in his eyes did not look right.
Okay. Somebody said, have you ever seen the twins outside?
I don't live close enough to their house to tell you that.
Okay. Let me see. Somebody said, why would you not go to his parents and talk to them about his conduct?
I would have. That's why I put on the neighborhood app. Who knows this kid? Where does he live? Somebody's his parent out there. Talk to me so we can talk about this. Like I said from the get-go, I didn't want to get the kid in trouble. I wanted to help him. I wanted to find his parents. I wanted to find his family. I wanted to talk to them.
Okay. And I know you may have already answered to these some of these questions while we actually had our conversation, but I'm just answering. I'm just asking from the chat.
Sorry, I need to take a breath. Take a deep breath. Okay. Yes, I apologize that person asked the question because I didn't mean to have that come out like I was against you or hurting you. It's just it's been a long month and it's spilling out.
Okay, somebody said, hold on. Somebody says, why are you defending Monica so fiercely without knowing her?
I'm not defending her so much as saying I know what I have seen of Darriynn Brown. That it's not a defense of her. It's more of knowing what I know and adamantly saying this is what I know. And heaven forbid me speak out and hurt that family any more than they've been hurt. I might want to take a look at what I'm saying because all of that does affect that family in this community. That's all I'm saying. It's not in defense of an individual. It's a defense of the situation.
Okay.
And in defense of that child. Like I said a minute ago, I'm going to look at a horse. If this guy's been around wanting to hurt people and the murder happens, guess who I'm going to think did it, right?
Right. All right. This one say, do you know if Brown parents, nah, he already said he didn't know Brown's parents at all. That's why he was putting everything on the app for the person who just asked that question. Let me see. Let me see. Somebody said, I agree with the guest 100%. Never would I forget. All right. I think that's it. Let me see if I missed any. Give me 1 second, sir.
Yeah. And if anybody does, I will try to answer any questions you have the best of my abilities. So go ahead and feel free to ask. And I do apologize if it sounds like I was coming against you for answering the question. Just I'm passionate and I'm heated because it's a lot of emotion I got going on that I'm dealing with. So don't listen to my tone of voice. Just listen to my words.
Somebody said, what did DB say to him? He said he was going to kill you and your white family, right?
He did. He said he was going to come in the middle of the night when I was asleep and come in through the window and kill me and my white family. He said he was on a bloodlet. He said something before about him being with something, and I couldn't make out the word. So I don't know. And at the time we thought, was he saying he's with a gang? Is that what he's saying? But the more I replay that conversation over in my head, and I don't know if it's me manufacturing or not, but I think he was saying like the devil, or I don't know for sure. All I know for sure that he did say was, I'm with blank and I'm on a bloodlet and I'm going to come and kill your family, your white family in the middle of the night when you're asleep. I'm going to break in through the window and kill all y'all.
Madness. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Somebody said, why didn't you do a stakeout and follow him home?
Okay, for a month, I was up until 5:30 almost every morning. I tried to walk behind him when he was in my alley. Like I said, he went into his coat, and all I had was my phone. I was in house shoes, shorts, and a shirt, and he was in the shadows. I wasn't going to follow him at that point. My intent at the beginning was to follow him home and find out where he lived. When I saw him on the other occasions, I was wanting to follow him. But when he made the threat and the way his actions were, I kept thinking every interaction I had with him, it was like he's pushing. He wants somebody to confront him. He wants somebody to push him over that edge because he can't make that decision on his own. He wants to do it, but he needs that push. And that scared me because of that. So I kind of backed off, and the police asked me, back off, so that way he stays in the neighborhood and we can catch him. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you. Everybody that's in the chat, listen, I need all, y'all know I be being shadow banned. We got 500 people in here. I need everybody in here to hit the like button. I need everybody to hit the like button, please. That's the only way that we can defeat the ban. I need y'all to like the video. I need y'all to share the video, please. We got to get the word out there as much as possible. We need to bring awareness to this situation as much as possible. So everybody, please hit that like button. Please share this video. We have a great caller on tonight that then gave us a lot of great information. The message must get out, Madness.
And if it comes down to it, remember, as we're talking about all this, we are in a community and we're still living in this neighborhood and we're still trying to heal from this. I mean, we're reeling. Me, because of the threat that I had to live with, but my neighbors, because it's here. Over the last 3 years, we have had 8 murders in our neighborhood.
How many you say?
8.
Oh my God.
And there is nothing getting better. So our neighborhood, and I think you saw it on the news. If y'all watched Channel 8 News, if you didn't, go on, Google it and watch, where they showed from Monday night when they talked to us, the lady, and I'm not going to put her name out there, so I'm just going to say the lady that found Cash was seen talking, and I was sitting 2 people away from her. And she said exactly what every single one of us there felt. We are afraid. So keep that in y'all's minds while you're talking about this show, that we are left here. Y'all are talking about it. You hang up and you're good to go. We have to sleep in this neighborhood knowing that the police aren't going to be there for 30 minutes. So if anybody out there that's listening knows how to make a change for us, consider me your muscle, consider me your arms and legs. You give me the idea and I will run with it.
Yes, yes, I know that Stephanie Harlow shouted me out at the beginning of the video. I gave her a shout out. Everybody that's watching this that came from her channel, welcome. I'm Madness. I appreciate her. I appreciate her for doing that shout out. And y'all make sure y'all let her know that I said thank you. Let me see if there's any other questions before I let you go. Give me one more second, sir, if you don't mind. Okay, I think that's it. You got a lot of people that's saying that you was a great caller and that you was a great guest. You got some other people that are still questioning some things.
Sure. And I know it's hard to wrap your mind around. It's hard for us to wrap our minds around too. And I appreciate everybody being patient and listening. Thank you very much for letting me come on. It gives me a little bit of peace of mind to talk about it. And I do appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and let you go now. Thank you very much. And I hope that this community can definitely get the help that it needs, and hope that we can, come up with some solutions to make sure that this don't happen again.
Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and subscribe to your channel. So if anybody ever needs to reach out and give me ideas, this is the platform. Do it and I'll hear it. Thank you very much for y'all's time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. You have a great one. Everybody, I would like to thank everybody who was able to watch this show tonight. I would like to thank everybody who answered a question, everybody who gave a chat, a super chat, everybody who participated. If you haven't already, please like and share this video so we can continue to get the message over here out there. If this is your first time watching me, you can kind of get an idea of how this channel and how this show goes. I would like to also give a shout out to every YouTuber that has been supporting me, that has been showing me love, that has been sharing my videos, liking my videos, commenting on my videos. Thank you very much. If you need to reach me for anything, please go to stmcrimenewsinfo@gmail.com. You can reach me on Facebook at Stop the Madness Crime News. You can reach me on Instagram at STM Crime News. It only has like 3 pictures on there. I'm still trying to fix it. Madness. Thank you all very much. I really appreciate y'all. And if y'all have any questions y'all need to ask me, like I said, just reach out to me. I try to answer as many comments as possible right after I do the video. I try to stay on that video for like 10 minutes and just try to answer as many comments as I can. I wish I can answer all of them, but I can't. But I do try to answer as many as I can. Before I leave, once again, Can I get some prayer hands for baby Cash? Before I leave, can I get some prayer hands for baby Cash? Because in light of everything that we're talking about, baby Cash is still no longer with us. And all this is for baby Cash and getting justice for baby Cash. And once again, we will give a moment of silence for baby Cash. So please join me in a moment of silence for baby Cash. Thank you. Like always, if you want to join me on my quest to stop the madness, then please subscribe, hit that notification bell, like, comment, and share this video, cause we got some things to talk about. And we gonna talk about it because the madness is infectious. The madness is contagious, and the madness must be stopped. So remember, stop the madness, start the positivity. Thank you for watching. Y'all be safe. Madness.